Good evening, I'm Billy Gill for WCSU Media. Please follow me and my team as we explore some of the current issues involving this year's presidential election. This upcoming November marks the pinnacle of another election year. Americans not only gear up to choose our 44th president, but also those politicians on the state and local level. In recent news, controversy has swarmed many political figures, and a nation stands divided between a war and American foreign policy. There have been heated debates over which presidential hopeful will lead us to safety and ultimately peace, but since the 1960s, voter turnout in America has diminished. Will 2004 mark a change in this trend? I'm Billy Gill, and today we bring these political concerns to the campus of Western Connecticut State University and get answers from a student's perspective. We've also got exclusive with some local politicians and their take on this year's 2004 presidential election. Now I'm going to turn it over to field reporter Will Michael, who's on campus at Western Connecticut State University polling some students about their opinions.
I'm here today at Western Connecticut State University asking students why they think voter turnout is so low and if there's anything politicians can do to increase voter awareness. Why do you think voter turnout in America is so low today?
Because, like me, not many people know really what's going on.
There should be something more to get them out. Like you might want to say there's free pizza. That might actually get them out. I mean, seriously, like stupid stuff like that. That's what gets the people out.
It's not a holiday. In a lot of the countries in Europe, you go to South America, it's a holiday. So everyone, they pay attention on it. It's exciting. There are events. There are a lot of incentives, and here people just don't care.
Kids our age don't really vote because no one knows about politics.
Well, really, it's because nobody thinks they're going to make a difference. They think their one vote doesn't make any big difference in the election. And everyone thinks, well, what happened with Florida is such a big deal that they're like, well, even if I vote, they're going to throw my vote away.
Well, because people aren't really interested in voting. Some think that it makes no sense to vote.
I think it's simply because a lot of our people aren't educated on, what's going on in politics as far as, presidential candidates.
Is there anything politicians could do that you would think would make more people want to vote or excite more people to vote?
Be honest. It's a lot of propaganda and a lot of people just saying what you want to hear.
I guess they just need to let people know how they really feel instead of just saying what they think they should say.
When they say they're going to set out to do something, that they do it and they follow through.
Maybe if they brought more attention to the debates, even the conventions, they put the conventions on TV, sort of saying, listen, this is boring, but here it goes, instead of making something exciting. The conventions are so cool.
I don't really know. I don't know anything about politics.
When they say they're going to do something, they should do it.
They presented themselves more to a younger crowd, which is basically most of the population, then people will understand more about what's going on in politics.
As I questioned students around the campus, I realized that most of them get all their political information from television, whether it's good or bad. Does television help or hurt politics in America today?
It depends, because I think the media sometimes judges certain issues, and I think it hurts.
I think it hurts them because no matter who you hear from, it's always going to be biased towards somebody's point of view.
There's a lot of garbage that's out in the media. I mean, they try to go after the military career of Kerry, for instance, or Bush. They try to attack that, saying.
Yeah, I think it does, but nobody really does. Anyways, I'm not even registered to vote yet. I don't know anyone my age that is either.
Politicians, they don't go on TV to ask people to go vote. MTV does that, VH1 does that. But if you really look how many politicians go on TV for that, they don't. They only do that when they sort of asked, oh, you want people to go vote? Yeah, come everybody vote. But they don't want people to go vote. They want the people that they know are going to vote on them.
On one hand, television puts a negative point of view on a lot of the politicians. They make them feel like, oh, this person is bad and this person is doing this and this other person, well, they went to this war. If there was more of an honest thing, I love what MTV is doing, promoting, they're not saying which candidate to vote for, they're just promoting the people getting out there and registering and voting.
Do you realize that in the time it takes me to toast this cheese sandwich, You could be online finding out how to register to vote.
Go to declareyourself.com to download your voter registration forms. This message brought to you by Comedy Central and Declare Yourself.
Forgot to take the plastic off the cheese. That's why that's happening. It's probably still good though. I'm not that.
It helped us to visualize the things also. They show us graphs and bars. If they were just to say it, on the radio, we wouldn't get a really good picture of it. So I think television is a good way to...
They can watch television, like different broadcasts. For example, that MTV program they're doing, something about You Vote or something like that. That is going to have a good effect.
Do you think people our age just aren't watching television about politics? That's why they don't know anything?
Well, it's not even that they're not watching. It's just boring. They have to make it more for like people our age to want to listen to it. When we see it on television, we automatically switch it. Who wants to sit there and listen to Bush or Kerry say anything,
We find ourselves in a paradox. The majority of students feel that television is harmful to politics because of the mudslinging and gossip-oriented subject matter, all the negativity. But students aren't taking the incentive to educate themselves through means other than television.
Television is the most powerful medium in America for people to find out about politics. If television is consistently informing us about the candidates and encouraging us to vote, then why is voter turnout still not rising? With state and local government to keep up with, maybe the national arena of politics is too large for busy Americans to keep track of. We created a short survey that asks students simple questions about local politics. We'll put these students to the test and see if they know their politics. Here's field reporter Will Michael reporting live.
Can you name Connecticut's 2 current senators?
Oh, gosh. I don't know.
No, I cannot.
No.
No, I can't.
Joseph Lieberman, and that's it.
Dodd and Lieberman.
Senator Lieberman and Senator, I'll say Dodd.
How many years does the mayor's term last for in Danbury?
It's ridiculous, just 2 years.
4?
No, I don't.
No clue.
2 years? Yeah? Really?
Can you name our congressperson for Danbury?
No, I cannot.
Give me multiple choice, I guarantee I get it.
No.
No, I don't.
Nancy Johnson.
One thing we do know for sure is that in the 2004 presidential election, third-party candidates will be on the ballot. But many voters just don't take these candidates seriously. Why do third-party candidates have such a reputation as being spoilers or throwaway votes? We were able to sit down with both Dr. Robert Fand, the founder of the Independent Party in the city of Danbury, and Matt Paulson, former chairman of the Bethel Action Committee, who both contributed their spin on third-party candidates and politics in general.
Dr. Robert Fand is a dermatologist and general practitioner in Danbury for over 30 years. He founded the Independent Party in 1984. I asked him some questions about third parties and television's influence on politics. How did a vote for a third-party candidate get the reputation of a throwaway vote?
And the majority don't take independent parties seriously is that they tend to vote out of habit to the majority parties, and they don't want to particularly waste their vote on an independent. And for that reason, independents usually raise less money and not able to put on television ads, radio ads. We have the courage to say things that the major parties don't. And we also feel that local politics reflect state and national politics, because that's where the politicians learn how to do their job and also make things appear what they seem to be.
Students watch a lot of television, but still they're uninformed on politics. Why?
Because you don't get all the news on the regular newscasts on television. New channel that Comcast has for New England, it's a local New England news, and you get a lot of news that you don't see anywhere else.
I thanked Dr. Fant for his time. Later in the week, I met with Matt Paulson, former chairman of the Bethel Action Committee, a local third party in Bethel. Mr. Paulson, why is voter turnout so low?
I'm happy with the fact that we had nearly 80% of the registered voters vote in the last presidential election. The problem lies with the fact that there are millions and millions of 18-plus residents and taxpayers and citizens in this country that haven't even made the effort to register to vote. So that's where the problem lies.
Why do you think registration is so low?
I think it's pure laziness. I don't think that the schools do a good enough job of educating people as to the importance of voting.
I'm not even registered to vote yet. I don't know anyone my age that is either.
And you have people sitting at home whose taxes could go up $500, $1,000, $2,000 in the course of a year, and they sit home and watch TV.
You just mentioned TV regarding politics. Does TV help the political scene or harm it?
I think television serves a purpose when it comes to electing a president or electing a congressperson or a senator or a governor. When you're watching debates, you're watching the candidates say verbatim what they have to say without sound bites, without paid political advertisements, without spin artists. So I think to a large extent it is very important that the electorate watch television when it's appropriate.
What about all the networks? Fox News, MSNBC, CNN, C-SPAN, and others.
I think it's causing a sense of disenfranchisement. When you watch shows like CNN Crossfire, and you see Paul Begala and you see Tucker Carlson on a daily basis arguing and bickering and sniping over the exact same issues they just did the same thing on a day or two or three ago. And I think there's a sense of disenfranchisement.
When are third parties most effective?
The success of third parties is most noticeable when the two major parties are so indistinguishable from each other that the voters don't have a real choice. And I think you saw that in 1992 when you had a very centrist Democrat from Arkansas running against a very centrist Republican from Texas. And other than the usual rhetoric where you get into these little niche areas like abortion or guns rights, you look at taxation, you look at spending, you look at foreign policy, there really wasn't a big difference between Clinton and George Bush Sr. Perot saw an opportunity in 1992, not only with his hundreds of millions of dollars to help fund a campaign, but he saw an opportunity to allow a third party to distinguish itself very aggressively against the two major parties, and he was very effective.
After my visit with Mr. Paulson, I returned home and reflected back over the interviews I carried out and came to some conclusions. Many students find the political debates boring and won't bother watching them on TV. Other slightly more entertaining programs, such as Crossfire or The O'Reilly Factor, are comprised mostly of people arguing about whose facts are correct. Most people watch television to be entertained, not to be educated. The political debates are the most educational regarding candidates, but students find them to be the most boring. Political talk shows are led by charismatic hosts who yell and argue, entertaining audiences about who has the facts. Both sides always claim to be right, and the others are liars. And then there's the interruptions. What do I mean by interruptions? Here's a look. What does a frog eating a worm have to do with politics? Nothing. And neither does Coca-Cola, Viagra, or ABC's new fall lineup. Television is entertaining, but it still does open doors for further research. If you want to find out about a candidate or government policy, you may have to find alternate means. How did people learn about political issues before television? In the 1800s, the national pastime was politics. Instead of talking about football or baseball, politics and government policy were the subjects of discussion at many social gatherings. Presidential candidates didn't even campaign for themselves. They left it up to their supporters in the states to distribute pamphlets, literature, and to begin rallies to raise support for their respective candidates. People read articles and discussed politics. In today's society, television is sort of a crutch. Just look at how many images flash across the screen within an hour of watching television or channel surfing. What percentage of those messages do you take seriously or even remember? I don't want to use a cliché, but you might have to sit down and read a book. I'm Will Michael reporting. Thank you.
I hope we've encouraged you to do a little extra homework about this year's candidates. And remember, you can't trust everything you see and hear on television. I'm Billy Gill, WCSU Media. Good night.